Hi, welcome to Thinking to Infinity. I'm your host. My name is Gregory. I am a professional musician, speaker, and audio engineer. And I also really love discussing topics like faith, culture, and spirituality from an eternal perspective, thus, thinking to infinity. Well, if you like those kinds of things too, then you might want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there because that is exactly the sort of thing that we're going to be doing here. I might also spend some time talking about other things that I'm really passionate about, like movies, music, sociology, ethics, and, nerd stuff in general, but always with a mindset towards the eternal impact of those things. Truth be told, I've had it in mind to start this channel for a while now, and as I've been preparing, I've been watching some videos from other YouTubers who all mention how they wish they hadn't been so picky about getting everything just right before they began, and wish they had just started making videos sooner. And I have been ignoring that advice for a long time, years, in fact. But I'm starting now. Still room to grow, I haven't perfected my cinematic lighting technique. Don't have any cute animations to illustrate my points yet, but we'll be making some improvements as we go. Now, before we get too far into this, it's all fine and dandy to say thinking to infinity means examining things from an eternal perspective. But what does that mean exactly? Eternal to one person might mean something completely different to somebody else. One person might believe that we all just decay into dead matter and nothingness, so who friggin' cares what happens after that? Eternal things are just dust and radiation. While another person might believe that our spirits are continually being reborn into new forms via reincarnation, so the worldview that we base our thoughts on is going to have a major impact on the conclusions that we'll come to. Worldviews. Everybody has a worldview. I have a worldview, and yes, you have a worldview, even if you don't think you do. Worldviews. It's the way that we see or view the world, our way of looking at and explaining reality. Our worldviews inform our thoughts and our behaviors based upon what we believe. Our worldviews are the frame around reality that help us get answers and make sense of answers to questions like, how did we get here? Why are we here? What is here? How did this place I call here get here? Is there a God? Is that true? What does true mean? How do I really know what's right and wrong? Do any of these questions even matter? Well, even if your answers to those questions are, I don't know, that's evidence of your worldview. Agnosticism, to be exact. Full disclosure, in these videos, I'll be addressing things from a Christian worldview. Why? Well, I think Christianity is not just one of many worldviews you can choose, the most popular one in fact, and it's not just one of many world religions that requires blind faith to give you some placebo-like good feels, but it's actually the best, most reasonable explanation of why our world is the way it is. That's right, I think Christianity is true. Seem preposterous? Crazy even? Well, in our current culture and in this time in history, it's certainly not very popular to go around saying that Christianity is anything other than a tired, outdated superstition. But yes, it's actually true. And the reason I think it's true is because I was raised as a Christian in a Christian country. I just have the faith to believe it. I've been brainwashed. I had a personal experience with Jesus Christ. The real reason I think it's true is because of the evidence that exists to support it. But wait, aren't religion and spirituality all about faith? Believing something in spite of the evidence against it? Well, that's actually a misunderstanding of what faith is. Faith means having trust in something or someone because you have good reasons to believe your trust isn't being misplaced. Blind faith is trust without reason or evidence, but not all faith is blind. Trust based on evidence is faith based on evidence. See? So, where is this evidence for Christianity? That's a great question. And that brings us to something called apologetics. Apologetics. Apologetics is simply communicating or explaining the reasons why something is justifiable or true, usually theology or a religious worldview. I think apologetics is a great thing because if Christianity is true, and it is, we should be able to find evidence for it outside the pages of the Bible, in history, philosophy, and archaeology. And that's really important because if somebody doesn't believe the Bible is a reliable source of information in the first place, it's not going to do much good quoting Bible verses to try to convince them. In fact, I was one of those people who absolutely doubted the validity of the Bible. And I always thought it was laughable when someone tried to prove the Bible was reliable by saying, the Bible is obviously true because the Bible says it's true. That's a little thing we call circular reasoning. Yet, here I am. Why? Apologetics. We really need a better word for this. Where is all this evidence, you ask? Well, it's everywhere, really. And I know that's too easy of an answer, but the Christian worldview is supported by an overwhelming amount of evidence in history, in science, in nature, and even in human behavior. And since there is so much of it, I'm going to try to focus on just one question or point with each video. For the record, I did say I'll try. I have a tendency to ramble. Now, the haters will of course jump to their keyboards and say, aha, you did not give a silver bullet piece of evidence to prove Christianity, so your worldview is obviously false. Touché. But think about it. Reality is very complex. Our universe is very complex. And people are freaking complex. Complex issues often require complex explanations. Case in point, we can all see the evidence for the existence of electricity. Sometimes you can feel the existence of electricity. Might even be playing a metal bar in Liberty, Missouri when you see it arc from your microphone right onto your lip. Ask me how I know. But the question, why does electricity exist? That's not something you can answer in just one sentence, or even in 5 minutes. Yeah, we know it's the movement of electrons and atoms, but why does that happen? Why do those particular attributes of our universe even exist? Answering that requires more thought and nuance than a single bumper sticker size answer. So, to get the answers behind why the Christian worldview is true, you're going to have to watch more than just one little YouTube video. So, on this channel, we'll be examining things from an eternal perspective to see if they hold up. We'll be looking at the reasons behind the Christian worldview and the criticisms against it in a fair, rational way. We should never fear questions, and we should be able to have respectful conversations with others about these questions that we all really have. I think when people get angry about spiritual or philosophical discussions, sometimes it might be a sign that deep down, they're really fearful about hearing something that could convince them that what they've been believing is a lie, and nobody wants that. Or they're fearful that if their worldview proves to be false, it's going to require that they make some really big changes in how they live, which is usually not very easy or comfortable. When that happens, they tend to lash out with profanity, insults, ad hominem attacks. Don't be that guy. Speaking of that, if you're going to leave a comment or a reply to somebody's comment, be nice. Seriously, let's be kind to everyone, regardless of their beliefs. Speaking of commenting, feel free to leave a suggestion for what you think might be a good closing tagline for Thinking to Infinity. All the cool YouTube kids have one, and I'm still working on mine, so suggestions welcome. And let me know what topics you'd like these videos to dive into. Leave a comment below with your questions or suggestions on what you'd like me to cover, and I'll look at them. Seriously, start typing down there. And you know the drill. If you'd like to see the other videos I'll be posting, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And to be notified when new videos are posted, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button. I quote the wisdom of the Right Reverend Stanley Clark Burrell, who once said, "Ring the bell. School's in, sucker."